What's going on, guys? Anthony Angelillo, branch manager over here with Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, CEO, founder of Tag Team Nation Marketing Tech Company. Been doing loans now for about 20 years, and we just got recently certified as an agency with Tag Team Nation and HubSpot. So that's launched, and we are kicking ass this year. We've definitely started off this year, and we'll talk about our executions and how we are hitting our goals. But more importantly, anyone that needs our services, we're here, and we have been getting a lot of great testimonials. So we're proud of that, and we have been getting a lot of phone calls from listing agents loving our process. So it's, as we talk about execution, it is a process, it's consistency, and we will go into that. So that being said, I'll let Melinda introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Melinda Grimaldi, real estate and title attorney, Grimaldi Law Firm, the closest title insurance agency. Super excited for today's topic because you know what? We're getting towards the middle of the month. Everyone's overloaded on all their goals and all the things they want to accomplish and all the things they want to do, right? But now you just got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's like, okay, let's not be all talk, no action. Now comes the action part. You talk to yourself. Hopefully you wrote it down. Hopefully you have your list of things you want to accomplish. You broke it down into pieces, right? Mm-hmm. Hopefully that's important part of the process. But it's not going to, just putting it on a piece of paper is not going to do itself. This is
what are the crosses? Are those the things that you hit already?
Some of them. I didn't hit all of them yet. This is a bullet point summary list. I'm showing right now on the screen if you're watching with the video of my business plan. This morning at 3 a.m, I hadn't finished typing it out, and I'm like, I got my coach assignment finally, my CEO assignment for my coaching program. My first call is next week, and I can't be the student that doesn't have their business plan ready. Like, I have to type it out. So I think that might be why I also could have fallen back asleep. I'm like, I have to do all these things. So I wrote out all these things. But funny enough, I some of these things I didn't even put on there because I had already finished the projects. So let's talk about, let me just jump right into that, right? We're writing stuff down on what we're going to do, but then I find a lot of people don't have an implementation plan.
Define that.
So, for example,
business plan is what you're.
No, not a business plan. The plan is the business plan will tell you what you're going to do, right? But then if you really want to go further and build it out,
breaking it down, yeah,
it's breaking it down. What are you going to do? When? How many times? Why are you doing it? Right? All those pieces will help you build it out better. Who's going to help you do them? That's a big part of it. Where are you going to get the hours to do it? How long? When are you going to start doing it? So for myself, for example, one of the biggest projects that I have for my business plan for 2022 is building out HubSpot for all my companies. That's a huge project. And so the first thing I already pulled the trigger on getting it started in December. So I'm actually well into the project already. Thanks a lot to Anthony and his team. So they're helping me build it out. I have my internal team helping me build it out. We were preparing for it last year. Funny enough, if I didn't prepare, because we were building our lists and organizing them. They weren't organized exactly how you needed it, but I knew at least I had enough to then we could reformat it how you needed it,
Yeah, and that's interesting. Now that you're talking about it, and I'm really thinking about it, I think it was necessary for you to really plan and really elaborate with the team. Talk to the team and say, hey, this is what we need in terms of these lists. Like, you're the only person that we've signed up yet, and we have 11 people. No, we have 14 people that signed up that didn't have lists, and they're getting things together, not to undermine anyone, but you had all the formulas, the lists, you had them extremely organized. It's almost like you had a business plan already set. Granted, you have systems in play, but you broke that down. So
to be very honest, it was on my 2021 business plan, and I never got to really execute on. Well, I guess I did, because I did it in December. It didn't get finished, but we were preparing for it. I knew I didn't have the capacity earlier in the year to actually execute on it because of different things that were happening. But
Yeah.
I knew that I could have my team and myself prepare in advance. So how we did that was organizing our data and deciding what I wanted in it, so that when it was time, I didn't have to start from scratch, right? So
Yeah.
like I'm paying for a service now that it's almost, ready to start being used. But if I would have done it and then I'm waiting to start, waiting to build all the data and organize the data, that's like thousands of contacts, right? So I didn't want to, I wanted it to be ready. So I said, okay, well, to be able to build out HubSpot, what do I need? I need my lists organized with this and this and that. I need to, what do I want to put in there? I had to have some brainstorming ideas. And so I put here HubSpot. I need to be able to text, have my calendar linked. I need to have e-sign capabilities. I had it in my business plan. So that way, when I went to go execute it, I already knew these are the things that we got going on. So so the reason I'm bringing this up to you guys is I want you to foreshadow, right? We can't execute on all projects, right? Because obviously your main goal is going to be to have a certain amount of closings a month, right? If you're in real estate. Well, to get to that goal, you're going to need to make your sales calls. You're going to need to follow up. You're going to need to manage your deals. You're going to need to deal with everything else in the pipeline, right? So a lot of these projects that you're going to have that you're going to want to execute on to make your business better, you can't do them all at the same time. And you can't have them interfere too much with your income producing activities, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy to get stuck in the projects and then not produce. And we don't want you guys to do that. So it's a balance, right? You need to execute, but you also need to produce, because these projects sometimes are long game. They will help you in the long run. They will help you in the future. But right now you got to eat, right? So you got to make sure that you have stuff in the pipeline. And I know you've seen this, Anthony, myself included. When I get stuck in production, or when I get stuck in projects, like you got stuck in you were building out a lot of stuff last year, that naturally impacts your production, because you're not out marketing, you're not doing your sales, you're not doing your stuff, right?
I even had my parents tell me, what are you doing? Don't take away from your main source of income. And because they saw me every weekend on Zoom, on FaceTime, and I was in front of a computer coding out everything and building everything out. So it does take away, and you don't want that. And there's no instant gratification, as I always preach. You need to see the vision, have an end goal, put a time block on it, break it down, which we'll go into, and then execute. You've got to execute, and you got to continue to execute every day, a little bit a day. It's an ongoing project. That's the beautiful thing about HubSpot, is that it constantly can be groomed based on economics, based on the trends of our business, based on anything in that you want it to be based on. That's the beautiful thing. And you can mold and create it as you develop and scale your business. And that's an ongoing process. It just doesn't happen overnight.
Exactly.
Constantly.
So this HubSpot, it will be my CRM, right? So everyone should have what they want to improve. If you already have a CRM that you're using, how are you going to make it better? How are you going to make it streamlined? How are you going to increase it, right? It's not going to be your only thing you're going to work on this year, which is why we have to break down the project into pieces. But if you don't even know what you want to fix or add or improve on, then you're already behind schedule, right? So sitting down and saying, this is what I want to implement, or this is what I want to add to my CRM. And then you say, okay, this is how I'm going to build it out. Every week, I'm going to spend an hour. I'm going to hire a VA to do it. I'm going to use Anthony's team because he's helping people build out HubSpot for real estate. So there's different ways you can do it, right? And different things that you need to break down for yourself. But if you know, for example, and this is a perfect example, I'm the only one out of the 14 people that are doing it with you that had their list organized. Well, then if you're interested in something like that, that's a hint to you. The first step is get your list organized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So even if you don't have the time right now to designate with either the funds or the time to build everything out, at least hire a VA for 10 hours and get your list organized, give them some framework, explain it, and then or do it yourself in your off time, but don't be doing it when you're supposed to be making your calls.
And let me just, not an episode on HubSpot, but let me just elaborate
about
it's a great example, actually. And it's a true story. your lists really set a good foundation, right? And so execution on my side as an agency certified with HubSpot is we need to create a foundation when we sell the product. Usually it's $3,000 that HubSpot charges to obviously render services and build that out. We're not charging that, but we had to set a foundation. So for my execution on my side is I created lists and templates and developed all of that. So that way it's plug and play for that agent. But that's literally taken a whole month. So we're continuously having meetings every morning using some of Melinda's lists, mind you. And that's the beautiful thing. It's collaboration. It's understanding what others are doing. It's taking that constructive criticism to heart and saying, all right, this works for her. I'm going to implement it in our systems and I'm going to, share it with everyone else. So it's that takes time, folks. And if you can take the time every day to do a little bit and execute a little bit and break it down in a formula that's very simplistic to the end user, and you as an individual, you'll scale faster.
And any project, any goal, you got to break it down into digestible pieces. Not only because, okay, yeah, I want to make $1 million. Great. But that's not a digestible piece of something, right? So how do you break it down? What are you going to do to make $1 million? And then within that, okay, yeah, I'm going to do, for example, I'll give you another example. I'm going to host webinars. Webinars are part of my business plan of how I grow my business. Okay. So now what? Now I know I got to schedule the amount of webinars I want. I need content for those webinars and I need, right? So the first thing I did was, okay, I think it's every second and fourth Wednesday of every month, I will be hosting a webinar. I have those blocked out on my schedule. I have already content ideas for those topics for those classes. Some of them I've done before, some of them I haven't. So we're building out those classes
and repurposing content.
Repurposing some of the content. But
you're not even creating the wheel.
I'm not waiting till June to say, okay, now, I didn't do that many. I have to scram them all in. Now it's the end of the year. When am I going to do them? How am I going to do it? I'm not thinking about that anymore. I know, okay, all I know is that in next week, I have a webinar that I got to prepare for because it's already in there. So I made it into digestible pieces. Not, I got to do 24 webinars. No, I have one next week. The other ones will come. But what am I going to do for the one next week?
And honestly, that gives you the best ROI for your business. That's what you need to do as a title agency. And that's the beautiful thing. But it's funny because even the live events that we did, you're taking all of that content that we used to do in live events and you're basically putting it into your system. But now you need to break everything down and formulate exactly, what's going to go out in a timely manner. I think a lot of the industry, I'd say everyone in the industry, that's the hardship. It even says on here that the creating cadence and accountability, that's the hardest thing. As we discussed with damage control, it's going to be difficult to produce content every week. What do? We sit down every month and we produce content. We send it to our team. Now, granted, we definitely have to do that for 2022 and pivot and do things that we're going to try to tweak. But point is that you want to get ahead. I made 4 videos yesterday. All right. And those are going to be posts for next week. I'm executing because I want to push out more content and more videos. I haven't been doing that lately, but I'm now going to, hold the accountability against myself and say, all right, every night before I leave, a video, send it to the team, have it on cue for, week 2 of next month. That's how to execute.
So yeah, breaking the digestible pieces. So, when we go to a dollar figure, okay, I want to make $1 million. That means I need this many, like going back to the numbers, right? I need this many closings to make this much money. And to get this many closings, I need to make this many calls for you as an agent, right? So for you to make this many calls as an agent, I need to make 1,000 calls. Don't look at it as 1,000 calls, divided by the number of days you want to work. And then say, okay, today I got to make 5 calls. I got to make 10 calls. Break it down. And then make sure that the one thing that's going to move the needle for you is what you're focusing on. And then the projects to streamline your business, to make you more efficient, you make sure you break down, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours a week to work on this. I'm going to spend this. I'm going to, You have to use your calendar, use yourself as your time, wisely, and to be able to still keep producing, as well as being more efficient and building up those systems, if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense. As a mom, you're doing it now, right? With your kids.
Doing all kinds of stuff. I don't even know.
Exactly. So everyone in the room that has children or, anything, parents or family or cats and dogs, whatever the case is, you've got to make time. And yeah, you're executing by trying to perform to make money, but you still have to obviously, do other things and be the jack of all trades in your family, right? Or you have to make sure that you're getting projects done. So it's delegating that time wisely and using that time effectively.
And then delegate as much as you can. Delegating as much as you can afford, as much as you can, afford help. And you might not be able to afford that much help in the beginning, but you find a little bit of help, and then eventually you'll build. Listen, 4 years ago, it was not the same thing as now. Now I gotta, it's very different in terms of how much help I have, whether it's in the office or at home. Now I don't know how I did it before, right? But but the reality is that when I didn't have as much help, I had to sacrifice and wake up at 4 a.m. When I go back to those days, when I tell you, like, the consistency was there for me every morning, 4 a.m. that alarm went off. I would get up, drink my coffee, sit on the computer and work so that I can market during regular business hours, right? So, but why I'm telling you guys that is you need the consistency in these things, consistency in making your calls, consistency in working on a project, consistency in taking time out to execute on what you want to do, because everything goes back to that. And you could choose to sleep in, you could choose to wake up early. I'm telling you guys, one of the key nuggets of all this is waking up a little bit earlier. I know it sucks, but it is what it is. And eventually you're going to like waking up early because you're going to feel good about it. It'll become a habit, right? But until it becomes a habit, you got to force yourself. And I think it'll go a long way. How do you create accountability for yourself, Anthony?
It's a good question.
Do you have anyone on your team that helps you with that? What do you do?
So all of the numbers that we have that are generated, which actually it really motivates the team, because we have weekly numbers that go out and the team looks at it and it's a scoreboard in essence. And bottom line is when they're looking at that and they're saying to themselves, hey, look, Vera's, leading the way, or Yanette's leading the way, psychologically, they're going to motivate themselves. But my accountability is my CMS system and my CRM system. That thing's on me constantly because we have everything integrated with Slack. So we get a notification through Slack that this has to get done. And I put times blocks on everything. We have a service level agreement that we took time to build out. And we wanted to say we want to close a loan in 21 days. And so we built that out and we put everything embedded into that workflow to remind ourselves to get ourselves up in gear and make the phone calls. So the accountability is in our systems. Now, you can ignore the system.
You could ignore the system. So how do you keep yourself accountable not to ignore the system?
So
never mind your team. Let's talk about you.
So what I do is I'm a little bit crazy when it comes to that. Like last night, I did 2 videos. I did about, I'd say 10 takes only because it was a tough topic. I didn't leave until about 7:30 until the videos were done. That's my discipline. That's me saying I'm not leaving, because it was almost like in basketball days. I would make the shot before I left the court. Psychologically, I wanted to leave with that win, right? And so for me, I'm good at that. I hold myself accountable to say when I hit a goal, I'm going to hit the goal. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I'll figure it out. I'll break it down, but I will definitely hit the goal.
How did you get like that? Why are you like that?
I'm not a perfectionist at all. I'm just.
Yeah, you are, but that's not what it is. Like you have something in you, you're trying to achieve. Right.
I have major drive. I don't know. As an athlete,
like what was the pivot? Like what was, so there was one day where you woke up, you're like, I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to eat clean. I'm going to go to work. I'm like, you're working so many hours. You're doing all these stuff. Like you're so focused, you're hyper focused. What was the pivot for you to like say, now I'm going to be like this and like, don't fuck with me because I'm focused.
I wasn't getting the results that I wanted to see. In the movie Bronx Tale, it's called A Waste of Talent. I know that I am good at what I do. And if you know that you're good at what you do and you're looking at others and you're saying, I'm there, I know I could do that, then why aren't you doing it? And I mean, so at the same time, the execution is by doing it, but not half-assing it either. And so I felt like, you know, when I was drinking and when I was waking up late and when I didn't, you know, go to the gym and I was half-assing things, I'd have the roller coaster effect and I wasn't consistent. But then people would say, oh, but what about a social drink? The next day I felt like shit, I was moody. Doesn't matter if I had one or two. So so my consistency was broken at that point. Then I started back from ground zero. I didn't want to go back. I wanted to keep scaling because, you know, being broke when I moved here, I was literally broke. I had nothing, man. I came here with my Ford Exploder and my clothes in the back, and I couldn't even afford. I was bussing tables, man. I don't even know if you know that story. I was bussing tables at $5 an hour with a management information systems business degree at 25 years old. So I said, shit, man, I need to really, you know, do something, make myself motivated. And that's, you know, that to each their own. Everyone has a past and a story. That still motivates me.
But what are you aiming for?
The end goal.
Yeah, what's your end goal?
I don't know, man. I want to be.
What's your end goal that's keeping you consistent? Because you need something there, because that's not a natural reaction to be like that. So what are you aiming for?
The end goal is to financially have freedom, okay, and to be not stressed out about money, to take care of others, to see them scale. What really gets me off and sets me off is to see people on this seminar right now that are really focused. That is my why. Yes, Robin. That is my why. My why is basically to help others and to see them scale. And I know that's very cliche in terms of saying, what about money and what about you? I love to see, like, I want to help you build that HubSpot because it ultimately obviously will help me too. But at the end game, to see you scale and to see you, you know, take care of your family, that's awesome. That's rewarding for me. Now I know that I'm definitely setting myself up, you know, apart from the competitors. And that is my drive, you know, that really motivates me. So I feel like, you know, I owe it to everyone else. That's definitely me though, in a nutshell, if that explains it.
It does. It does. It does. Have you ever expressed it in that way?
No.
There you go.
No, I mean, my past is my past.
No, I'm saying right now, like that probably evolved, right? Like I've never heard you explain it like that before. I probably asked that question before.
Probably, but I mean, it just, you know, what drives me and motivates me is helping people out. And that is definitely my why. Like the testimonials that we got last week, I mean, beautiful, beautiful testimonials to people that are speaking from the heart and crying while they're speaking from the heart, changing their lives ultimately, because they've gotten denied by other financial institutions and then figuring out how to get them into a house. That's rewarding, man. That's like, who gives a shit about the commission at that point? You're going to be blessed with multiple, you know, people, you know, going your way at that point. That's what drives me. That's what sets me off. And I feel like I owe it to others because I don't think I gave it my all. Even in sports, I definitely could have. I mean, I could have, without a doubt, made professional baseball, without a doubt, and that's on record. Like I was nasty at baseball, and I didn't excel. I didn't do that. So as I said, wasted talent. Why? I stopped. So why should I stop scaling? And why do I need to put myself in an environment in other places that aren't going to allow me to execute properly or set me up for failure? You know, so that's part of the reason too.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So that focus is what gives you that accountability, that consistency, right? And then one feeds into the next of all your different habits that you've built. So that's good. So finding your why, that end game is always focusing on that end game is important.
The end
because
game.
the end game helps you stay accountable to yourself, et cetera, right? Finding ways to track. So for me, this ties into also how I keep consistent. I'm constantly focusing on my numbers, broken down on a monthly basis, not on the year, right? So every month I know how many files did we open.
You don't do
how
weekly
many?
either?
No, we don't do weekly because things vary so much. So we focus on a monthly number. And so how many files did we open? How many files are we on track to close? How many files do we need to hit our goal? So every day now it's being reported to me. But the same thing for you guys is how many calls have you made? Because it's like a math equation. This many calls, this many appointments, this many clients, this many contracts, this many closed deals. ... So if you guys know I made this many calls, start tracking all your calls, start tracking everything. So we have a question. Do you write down your goals twice a day? I don't. I don't write my goals down. I have them reported to me in terms of my numbers to get to my end goal. And I have a vision board at home, but I have kids like in my face. That's my goal. My goal is for them at the end. Like it's for me to be with them. So it's kind of like in my face already.
But you have meetings every morning. So those meetings are basically you writing down those goals because you're huddling, talking about your numbers.
Yeah, we mentioned our numbers on the huddle. Our team meetings are not for numbers, the team meetings for keeping our deals on track. So I do have marketing meetings. I do have meeting with my bookkeeper a couple times a week to review my numbers and make sure we're on track. So I do have those things. And I have those meetings in there because otherwise I get so caught up in the production and in what's going on that I don't stop to look at it. So now that was one of my issues, is that like I'm just moving so fast I don't stop to reflect. So I've created systems and things in my schedule to allow me time to reflect. So I have my meeting where I'm being reported to now because I don't have the time to sort the data. So now the data is being sorted and given to me in the digestible format where I could just see, okay, this is where we're at, and I'm behind or I'm ahead or I'm on track.
So my question is, what about what really bothers me, and I don't know why it does. It just when people talk the game and don't walk the walk, right? Why do people fail in execution? Why do you think that is? Because the article that you sent me was awesome. I mean, it was very mindful. It's awesome, amazing. I'm going to read it again. But it does say that people don't follow through. Why do you think that is?
I think there's a few reasons. It could be one of a few things. I think people are not consistent. They don't want it bad enough. Because if you want it bad enough, you could taste it. You hear it, you dream it, you smell it. I'm telling you. Yeah. When I got obsessed with my growth,
yeah, you're right,
is when I grew. You need to be obsessed with it. I know it's not. Now there has to be obviously a certain level of balance, right? Because we have families, we have other commitments, whatever, but you need to be obsessed and find people that are just as obsessed as you. I think definitely like our relationship and our partnership has helped me grow because you're just as obsessed as I am. We're literally always talking about how to grow one way or another. And I have several other friends like that too. So, but you need different time, there's a time and a place for and a purpose for everything, right? But definitely being around other people who are obsessed has helped me stay obsessed. Does that make sense?
No, it's without a doubt. It does talk about that too, being around 5 individuals that are going to make you to the next level and all that. And I believe in all of that. It makes complete sense. I don't understand why. I guess you answered it. They don't want it bad enough.
They don't want it bad enough. They don't really know why they're doing it. They haven't really sat down. They don't know why they're doing it. You want to make money. Yeah. It's not about the money. What's the money going to do for you? What is it going to give you?
Here's an example. And I just did a post on this, which we're going to release as well. Systems that we talk about. The reason why I started building this system is I posted this too on Slack, and everyone thought I was a little bit cuckoo. I see things like I shit you not, I could see and forecast and just visualize me in a chair and looking out. I saw DC. When I approached you and we talked about this, I saw this, like literally saw this. So the point I'm trying to make is that when you have that vision or you have that issue in your business as an agent and you can fix it and you know how to fix it, or you can do something to implement to make, to soften the blow. That's why I created what I created in terms of our amazing systematic approach on how to communicate and whatnot, because there were so many issues.
I think the key is you saw it, you believed you could do it. Because another thing, I think people either they don't know why they're doing it, they don't want it bad enough, or they don't believe they can do it. Like they had that mindset issue where they don't believe they can do it. And that's a huge issue that I see. And people could say, yeah, I can do it, but they don't really believe it. And when you don't believe it, you don't take the opportunities when they come to you because you're not seeing it. You don't stay consistent because you're like, well, fuck it, I can't really do it anyway. So what's the point?
So if someone tells you that you can't do it, does that set you off and you want to prove them wrong?
I'm the opposite.
That's like saying, you won't do well in your LSATs. You're not going to become an attorney. There's no way. That just F you.
I'm gonna show you. Also because normally I don't get those comments. So when I do, they kind of stick to me. I'll tell you a story. When I was first in my coaching program, I mean, I was pregnant. I had already had a kid. I was like overwhelmed. Funny enough, I'm back in the program now. I'm listening to a mindset call that they had recorded a while back. I asked a question on that call and I'm hearing myself 3 years ago and where I was, or 4 years ago. It was 2018. So it's 4 years ago, January 2018, 4 years ago, where I was then and where I am now. And I hear it in my voice. I was scared as shit. I heard it in my voice. I was like, wow, how far I've come. Right. But, I remember like a few months before that, I was feeling overwhelmed. I knew I wasn't going to be able to take any time off once I had the baby. And I was just trying to make things happen. And it just like, forcing it. And I was like, I was trying. It just wasn't there yet. Because things take time and you can't give up. Right. So that's when one of the coaches goes to me, maybe you're not set out for this. Maybe you should just get a job. Oof. I was like, because I was probably in a complaining rant at that moment. And I was like, I am never working for anybody else ever. Like, that's not an option.
Yeah,
I'm not stopping. And that kind of was one of those moments that I still remember. That was like the pivot.
You're a true entrepreneur. You have to do what you're doing.
No way. I was like, don't even try me like that. Like, don't even say that. I took it offensively in that way. And why is because I'm like, failure is not an option. I'm going to figure out a way to make this work.
Now let's take this to consideration, because this happened to me many times. And I think everyone sees the good and the success rather than all the crap that we go through and the failures and the money that we spend to test things out. What happens when you execute and you don't see the ROI on it?
You need to be paying attention. You need to pay. Why didn't it work? Down to this, like, I'm so analytical with my business. Like, why didn't this work? Why do we have this problem? I am constantly today. We had a team meeting before this. We changed like 7 things, minor tweaks.
For what? The process?
Our process. 7 things, minor, very minor. But it's gonna make us better.
Details are everything. So that's
the more layers you go, so in levels of organization, I think there's somewhere where there's like, okay, level 1 organization, level 2, right? When you're moving into a house, okay, first let's put the boxes in the rooms where they belong.
Yeah.
Then, okay, we unpack the boxes, right? Hang the clothes. Then, okay, now that everything's hung, let's put them in the order. I like short sleeve, like tank top, all the way down to long sleeve. That's how I organize my tops. Some people like it by color, whatever it is, but then you got to move it, right?
Yeah.
And once I moved that, I was like, you know what? I don't even like this. I don't like this anymore. I don't like this anymore. You take the stuff out. I don't like this anymore. I'm going to buy new things, replace it. That's old. It's passé, it's dated, whatever. Same thing in your business. You start with just putting shit in the room, knowing I'm going to work on this. I'm going to work on this. This is what we're doing, right? The 7 hats of your business. Then you layer it more. Okay, now what's the most important thing? Well, we need to unpack the dishes first. How are we going to eat? So let's unpack the dishes, right? Because the most important thing. And then you layer yourself there. And then eventually you're like, you know what? This doesn't make sense putting the cups here. The cup should be by the sink. We're going to pour the water into the cup. So let's put it like, right? So you layer it. It's layers of organization. Same thing in your business. You can't work on fine tuning small things. You got to first get your big pieces in order, and then you fine tune.
Big pieces in order. And as an entrepreneur, we tend to want to take on more projects and implement, constantly tweaking things. That's just how my mind works. Is that good or bad, you think? Because I feel like a lot of agents and loan officers, not to sit here and just tell agents that what they need to do. People in general, I think they move on to the next best thing because they want that instant gratification quick, right? So they execute, and they might do it for 30 days, 60 days. They don't see the results. They tweak, and if they do that and they pivot somewhere else, they're not seeing any results because they haven't given even 90 days.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were saying, like, he's a mindset coach, and they asked him, someone asked, when do I give up?
That's a good question. Wow.
Well, why are you even asking that question?
That's like that. You're
obviously
insecure. And you already set failure up.
So we're not talking about reviewing and pivoting a marketing strategy or something. We're talking about so you have to be mindful of your language and things like that, because that's definitely one of those things that can get away from you. But getting back to executing, the consistency and the mindset, they go hand in hand. We talked about a lot of mindset last week on last week's show. And I think that also goes back into failure is not an option. If failure is not an option, you're going to keep at it. Like for me, it wasn't an option. I had to earn a certain amount to get to the next stage of my life. I needed to. It was a requirement.
That was your why at the time. And that's what you wanted bad. You wanted it bad enough. Like there was no exception.
Now my why, it's still the same, but the trigger is different. Now I'm building bigger so I could free myself a little bit more of my time. Right. Before it was like, I need to make a certain amount of money. Now I got the money, but I need the time. So I need more money to have a bigger team. But that's what it is.
Yeah,
I need to grow the business more so I can have a bigger team, so I can have a little bit more freedom. Like when I tell, I can't leave my office and be disconnected. I'm constantly connected. So that's my why for this year. That's my big picture, is capturing a little bit of time. Like so I rescheduled my dentist appointment 100 times before yesterday's cleaning, like honestly.
Yeah, I did that 3 times.
So the point of bringing that up is now that's my why. Now my why is a little bit of freedom. And so and I'm so focused on that right now. Like I have interviews coming up for the rest of the day. That's my afternoon is interviews to grow my team, because now that's my next move. I know also I can't grow without a bigger team. I can't grow because I'm stuck in production. I can't grow because we're going to need more people to take on the growth, right? So it's multiple things. So all these things in place is like, okay, the freedom is at the top, but then what's the freedom going to give me? It's going to be more time with my family. It's going to give me opportunities to make passive income. I'm going to take that money and work it back in, right? We talked about that. That's another great example. One of the things I want to execute on is my plan to have a rental income property by the end of the year, at least one. I'm saying at least one because keeping the options open, right? So the idea is I'm not going to, wait till the summer to say, okay, now what's the move? No, I know, yes, I got to save up some money, but in the meantime, I got to find my return the right way. maybe not take as many write-offs.
Yeah, you're preparing.
So I already spoke to you, I think a couple of days ago, like, okay, I'm going to send you my return. We're going to look at it like this. And you tell me before I file it, if it's structured right, or if I need to maybe take out some write-offs, et cetera, et cetera. So why I'm telling you guys is that I'm not buying right now. I'll probably be buying Q2, Q3 towards the middle of the year, because I need to save up for it. But if I'm planning myself and working my way backwards to be able to execute on that, I got to do what? Save my money, file a good return, right? As a business owner, we know that we can write off a lot of things that we're allowed to do, but sometimes you don't want to write it off. And that's what I'm talking about, right? So we want to show it as income, pay a little tax, but then on the, it'll show for itself on the long game, right? So conclusion is you got to plan ahead, project, because even though we're not executing on all our projects right away, on all our goals right away, we still need to prepare ourselves to be ready for it when the time comes. So you have multiple pieces in play. Think about like multiple closings at the same time, right? Multiple deals at the same time.
That's a good example.
You have multiple things happening at the same time that are all going to get you, a certain amount of income, right? At the end of the year, right? So they're at different stages, right? So okay, this person's not ready to buy until, so you put them on the drip, you touch base with them, you put reminders for yourself to make sure you don't forget. But all these things are important because they're all part of the pipeline, right? Well, think about it as your goal pipeline. Ooh, I like that. Your
goal pipeline.
Yeah, I like that. You put yourself, here's the end of the year, right? Here's what you want to achieve. Here are all the things that you need to do, right? To get to all your goals that you want to achieve. At the end of the day, I have a numerical goal, right? For the year. I also have personal goals that will stem from that. I have with that money, right? I have financial goals that will stem from that. I have professional goals that will stem from that. So with that, those are all like the projects, right? So I know I want to max my 401k. I want to buy a rental income property. I want to do all these things for the year. So with that, that's how you break it down. You work your way backwards. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. You just reminded me. Max 401k and SEP IRA. I think it's 57,000.
How do we do that? We got to divide it by how many payrolls and do a little bit at a time. Don't wait to the end of the year and have to do a chunk, because then it's going to hurt more. Right?
So how does one, as a real estate agent, start off in terms of the year, execute and maintain that consistency? What should they do?
I think the first step is working your way backwards and building out a plan of how you're going to achieve it.
I like that. Yeah.
So like I say this all the time, like I feel like a broken record. You want a certain amount of money, or it's going to be a certain amount of deals, which is going to be a certain amount of clients. It's going to be a certain amount of appointments, certain amount of calls. And then you put that into your daily routine. That's your one thing. Your one thing, guys. If you're an agent or a lender or anybody really in sales, you need to make your calls. Make your calls. Make your calls. Make your calls.
There was I just said this to the team last week. I said, this was so easy. Oh, I made a call to a listing agent and we got another deal out of it. I'm like, guys, it's not hard. Just make the damn call and just say hello. What do we say? Just say hello. It's funny.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I got a guy for that.
I got a guy for that. All right. So conclusion, let's wrap this up because we're running out of time. To be able to focus on execution, you got to know your why, right? You got to stay consistent. We know that. We got to break down our goals into digestible pieces. We got to make sure our mindset's right so that we know, I know I can. You know that song, I know I can be what I want to be. Like you got to sing it to yourself, right? Make sure you believe you could achieve it. Make sure you want it bad enough.
Yeah, want it bad enough.
Because otherwise, it's what it is. You have to have accountability. So if you're not able to do those things, find someone to call you out.
What's funny is for this HubSpot thing, we're mandating accountability and weekly meetings and monthly mentorship meetings, because there's not a shot in hell that anyone's signing up with me and that's not going to, see ROI in long-term gain, not instant gratification overnight, like I said, but also not do what they need to do in order to see that. And it's an ongoing process because you need that. Everyone needs that accountability partner as well in anything. So
yeah, definitely. So, and that's it. And then just, do the damn thing. It's as simple as that, guys. Sometimes it's as simple as just doing what you got to do and doing it every day. Drink your water, exercise, make your calls, consistent with your stuff.
Did you work out today?
Nope.
Are you gonna do any? You know what we should do?
Probably
is meditation. I was thinking about maybe taking up some meditation or yoga this year.
So the Peloton has that.
I know. And I do a couple of meditation things, but I keep saying that. So I'm going to execute that on 2022.
I'm teaching my kids to meditate.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, I bought these. It's actually, well, the older one's able to do it. The little guy and just interrupts, but he'll get there. But funny enough, when I teach them, it helps me. I bought these cards. I bought these cards. They're like meditation cards for kids. And I read them to my kids. And it says, okay, close your eyes. We take deep breaths together and picture this. And it's based on a picture. And then they can close their eyes and picture. To be very honest, when I'm doing it, it actually brings me down a notch. Like it comes, because you can't be like, okay, yeah, do this, like close your eyes and picture this, you got to talk like, all right. So close your eyes and take
Marilyn.
Yeah. So
she actually held me to it. She's like, you got to do it. You would benefit for this. Yeah, no shit, I would.
I think for me, the first step in all that part of my life is to stop multitasking. Because we think we can, but we really can't.
Just say no. That's what this article says too.
One thing at a time.
Yeah.
Do one thing at a time, which is very hard for me because I get bombarded from all angles. But one thing at a time. One thing at a time. And we'll get there, guys. So one thing at a time. Build your plan backwards. If you need help doing that, just reach out to us. We're happy to show you how. If you need a worksheet or something on how to bring back your goals, we're happy to do that.
We will send everything out. All the information will be out after the show. That article, I did have the team repurpose it, and that will be going out to everyone. It was awesome. Great article. Melinda actually introduced me to that article. All right, guys.
All right, guys. So have an amazing day. Execute on something, please. Do yourself a favor, not me. Talk to you guys soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.